All right, you guys, on today's agenda for the Skyline, we got a couple of maintenance items, and then we're gonna try and get a new steering wheel installed on this bad boy as well. But as for maintenance items, I've got some carbon buildup on my valves right now, so we're gonna do a little old head trick that a buddy of mine showed me. It works pretty good, and we'll give you the rundown when we're at that point. We're gonna do an oil change real quick, and then like I said, after that, if we have time, we're gonna go ahead and install the new steering wheel. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys. So for the first item of business, trying to get these heads cleaned, the kind of getaway, we're gonna have to pull the brake booster vacuum line, and the car needs to be on to do this. So I'm gonna have my homie get in the car and then kind of accelerate, bring it up to 2,000 2,500 RPMs, and then we're gonna go up and down in the RPM range to get the stuff to flow. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the brake booster line, and we're gonna shove seafoams down it. And only seafoams, from what I've heard and what everybody's always said, is it's only use seafoams to do it. And when you do, I'm just gonna rip this line out, pull it out, and just shove seafoams down it. And then when it does, probably a shit ton of smoke. And depending on how much smoke you get, if you get a shit ton of this nasty smoke, usually it means, yeah, your heads were pretty dirty. I know they are. I've seen it. I've seen it all gunked up. So hopefully I'll get it cleaned up and good to go. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this on the tripod. That way you guys can kind of just watch. All right, you guys, we got the seafoams ready. So we're gonna go ahead and get this process started. It should be fairly quick, fairly easy. But I'm gonna go ahead and have him start revving it up, and I'm gonna start dumping this through the vacuum line. All right, go ahead and rev it out to 1200. Keep it at 25. I don't know if you guys can see it. I mean, the smoke coming out of it is, yeah, you can see there's some black coming off it. That's the carbon deposits on my head going away. The white heavy smoke is kind of normal. Usually it's not that heavy, but like I said, it's so dirty right now and so filthy. Just because my car's not running properly, because I live in California. The California blend gas is not good. Not that great for these cars, and the ECU is not really set up for it. I do have a standalone ECU, and I just need the adapter, and then I'll get it tuned out for California gas, so hopefully it'll run better. But we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna do this multiple times. Drop it down to 15. I know it is.
Try to get it to stay there.
Alright, go all the way up to 5,000. Alright, so this is a good example. You see like a big poof of smoke kind of came out here at this last one. Not a whole lot, and not a lot of it, almost none of it was black. So at this point my heads are probably pretty clean. Eventually I think I do need to rebuild my head, unfortunately. Just because, there is some tolerances that probably need to be fixed. But for now, we're just gonna stick with this solution at the moment until I'm done remodeling my house and stuff and doing all that crap, because rebuilding heads isn't cheap. But either way, we're gonna take it out for a quick spin, and then then come back do the oil change and stuff. We're gonna do a quick spin and we're gonna rev it all the way out to 7,000 RPMs just to really get all the sea foams that's left in the system ran through so I can get a nice clean oil change. We're on the way out to just do a little pull in the car to get any last of that sea foams out of the system. That way we're good to go. We can do a fresh oil change and then install the steering wheel. So we'll get that going, and I'll see you when I'm doing that rip. Pretty good little rips right there. Not a lot of room in traffic, but hopefully that got the rest of that sea foams out of the systems. And then I'll see you guys when we're doing the oil change. All right, you guys, it's oil change time, and I lied. I don't think I'll be able to have time to do the steering wheel today, but I'll do it on another video. Hopefully that'll probably be the next one, and probably fairly quick as well. And just, you know, it's already noon, and me and the homie got other shit to go do. So we're gonna get this oil change done real quick, you know, show you my little tips and tricks to not get this filthy because it's a side mount oil filter. But let's get started. As most of you probably already know, 14 mil for your oil drain plug. If you didn't know that, now you know. As you guys can see down there, that's where the OEM location for the oil filter is. Some people have already relocated it. I haven't done it, but what I'm going to try and do is get this funnel underneath it, this kind of like squarish end one, and then I'll dip it down into my oil drain thing, and I found that's the best way to keep oil from spilling all over the place. So I'll get it set up and I'll let you guys take a look. So I know it's hard to see, but I do have the funnel underneath, not just the filter, but where it connects on the side of the motor. Maybe I can try to look from underneath to kind of show you guys. It's hard to show, but let's see if I can. Maybe you can see through that little gap. Kind of doubt it, but I have it fished down between the CV axle and what is it? And the subframe, where the engine mount is, and I have it shoved down towards the oil pan that I'm using to collect all my oil and stuff like that. So when I go to take this off, it shouldn't spill everywhere. It should spill straight into the funnel, down into my stuff. And just a little tip for you guys with these motors, you know, making a clean oil change job, especially if you're on like a driveway like I am. So it'll be hard to see, but let's see, let me focus it. But you can kind of see it starting to drain. I partially pulled it out, so it's draining what oil is in there, and none of it's getting on any of the components. Like you can see that from here, but this is a better shot of like exactly what my funnel setup looks like. But easy, clean way to drain these. I know I'm gonna hear in the comments, yeah, why don't you just relocate your oil filter? I'm like, I don't want to, I'm lazy. But we'll get this fully drained and then get set up to fill her back up. All right, you guys, for oil choice, we're going 10W60 with liquid moly. This is what I found works best for me. I have as you can see, a few modifications done, and I run the living shit out of this car. So I found that, you know, this is what works best for me. Some people like 10W40, some people like 5W40. You know, it all depends, but this is my preference, so don't hate on me in the comments. And then as always, use the OEM style filter. Don't use that other stuff. These are great. These are great filters for these motors. So you know, everybody's got their own preference, but you know, a lot of people I know and myself, you know, believe in OEM. And then most importantly, don't cheap out. Get a new crush washer. These things are like $1 a piece for your oil drain plug. They're like super cheap, the little copper ones that Nissan gives you. And then but yeah, that's kind of our setup. Let's get filled up and, you know, get this thing running. All right, you guys, before we add the oil, we're gonna go ahead and add this stuff, dude. The Liqui Moly anti-friction engine treatment. This stuff is the nectar of the gods, dude. Coats your motor, does all kind of anti-wear stuff. I think it's a good product. You know, everybody has their beliefs on, you know, buying stuff like this, but I think it's great. I found it's been pretty useful, especially when you start getting like lifter tick and stuff like that. This does help quite a bit. So I just wanted to show you guys that before we started pouring everything in. All right, you guys, so we put in about 4.5, probably 4 3/4 of liters with the friction additive. Usually without the friction additive, it's like a full like 5 liters, and you'll be like almost on the high point of the oil dipstick. But go ahead and check. So yeah, right now we're right on the high. I'm sure once we start up the motor and it gets everything ran through the filters and everything, we're gonna need a little bit more oil, but I'll keep you guys updated on the amount once I do get that. So oops. Doesn't look like we have any leaks down low. And we got nothing coming from the filter. I don't think you guys can see that, but we'll go ahead and take a look at the engine levels in a second once we let it circulate for a minute, and then you know, top her off, and then we'll be good to go. I don't know if you can see that, ate up enough to get it kind of down towards the bottom third of the hash marks. But so we'll go ahead and give it a little bit more. It might end up taking the whole 5 liters even with the friction additive. I know I don't get quite to the high mark when I do the 5 liters. But no beep, I've got enough oil. Okay, go ahead and check on that. We're about halfway now. Give it a little bit more. Honestly, the whole rest of this thing, there's not much left. It'll probably get us right at where we need to be. Well, how you're making this. Don't do that, you guys. One last check. Yeah, we were right under at the top of the hash marks now, so we're ready to go. Skyline's good to go. I'm doing an oil change right now, and it hasn't even been long enough, but I drive this thing pretty hard. And as you guys saw in my previous video, the boy Luke is leaving for Japan, like permanently, or at least for the time being. Maybe he'll come back, but I asked him, what do you want to do tomorrow? And he said, I want to do toge. So I was like, oh, let me do an oil change real quick, just in case, just so that way everything's running perfectly. But you know what, dude, I love like driving the crap out of this car, just beating the hell out of it. I mean, it's what the car was built for. It's meant for that style of driving, doing grip stuff. So if I blow my motor out, for me, it's whatever, dude. It's about the memories you create with your friends and the community in these cars. I don't see a reason to keep it sitting in a garage anywhere doing absolutely nothing. I'm just gonna hammer it and have some fun. But if you guys found any of this information useful, you know, whether it was the whole cleaning your heads, or if you found any of this oil change information helpful at all, you might not, you might already know what you're doing. Either way, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and tell my camera guy he needs to get a little bit better. But I'll see you guys on the next one.